experience in across diverse sectors like real estate, telecom, and manufacturing, which include companies like Evolve Service Limited, Tech Mahindra, Set Creator Private Limited, and Ultratech Cement. Ma'am is currently associated with Aditya Birla Capital. So, topic for today's session is design thinking. Now, I request ma'am to take the session further.
Thank you, Diksha. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, ma'am.
So everyone's allowed to talk, right? People will respond to me whenever I ask them questions.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Great. So quick one word. Open your chat and start telling me how are you feeling this morning. I'm feeling excited to be with all of you guys. What about the rest of you? I have my chat window open, so go ahead. You guys can communicate with me through chat. You could talk to me. You could give me a lot of thumbs ups like these because I'm going to ask you for a lot of responses as we go ahead. Yes, how are we feeling, guys? Okay. All right, guys. So then let's get started. Diksha, thank you for the lovely introduction. And please tell
We
me
got
your
replies in the chat box. If you can access to the chat box and see.
Frankly, I am not able to access the chat box.
Ma'am, my
Do you know?
batchmates have replied. Just a second, ma'am. I'll excited for the guest session. Wonderful, wonderful, and excited for the session. Good morning, ma'am. It's very exciting today.
Good morning, Diksha, and for everybody else, guys, unfortunately, I don't see the chat window. So then what we will do is you will have to unmute and talk to me. That's the only way I can see. All right, so Diksha, let me know since you're the only person on the screen. If you nod, I will know. The others, please feel free to open your videos. How else does one communicate to laptop? Rashi, Varsit, Suyash, Neeraj, Wasim, Ankit, you guys are on my screen and hence I'm just calling you out your names. No, everybody's shy and, either just got out of bed. All right, no problem, guys. We'll carry on. So, guys, I see that you guys are great, ambitious guys doing your MBAs, trying to make sense out of life. But what if I were to ask you that in the next 5 years, what are the most crucial skills that are going to be required, whether you join a corporate, whether you join any organization, what are the top few skills you think we will need in the next 5 years? And the only way to communicate is to unmute and chat, talk to me because I can't see your chat box. Come on, guys, what are some top skills required?
Ma'am, I think four skills you have only mentioned to communicate.
Okay, thank you, Diksha. Yes, definitely very, very important to communicate, right? Come on, guys, talk to me. We don't have this much time. Otherwise, I'll not complete my topic for today. Nishika, Shyam. So besides communication skills, what other skills are you think are required in the next 5 years?
Maybe adaptability.
Who's that? Arpana, adaptability. Fantastic. Very good point, Arpana. What about the others?
Ma'am, analytical skills.
You guys have done some research, analytical skills. Okay. Mridul, wasn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sure, Mridul. Thanks. What about the rest?
Ma'am, good morning. Understanding body language.
understanding body language. All right, that's great, but I don't know who spoke. So
Ma'am, it was Poonam Wagmare.
Poonam. Thanks, Poonam. Yes, and there was one more response coming my way.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. This is Didi Jaswal, and time management is also a skill which is required, I think.
Nidhi, thank you for your response. Guys, so, I was, I'm in an industry where I am constantly looking at what skills are required in the next 5 years, what kind of people we need to hire. And the World Economic Forum says that in the next 5 years, the top 5 skills, there is a list right in front of you, but all you guys who mentioned analytical thinking, innovation, complex problem solving, creativity, originality, and initiative. So if you look at the top 5, besides the second one, which says active learning strategies, and really that is for L&D folks, people who are interested in getting into the L&D field. But if you look at the top 5, out of top 5, 4 of them are talking about innovation, about critical thinking, um, problem solving, right? So these are going to be important skills in the going future, and precisely what I thought I will talk to you guys about, which is the topic for today. And we are talking about design thinking. Right now, I have put up a definition on the screen for you guys. It's a very, very simple definition, which is a method of complex problem solving and creating new ideas. Right now, if I were to ask you guys with with a raise of hand, because I will be able to see a raise of hand, quickly tell me how many of you are good at problem solving and innovation. Right. So Pradeep Kumar says, I'm good at problem solving and innovation. What about the others, guys? With a raise of your hand, your virtual hands. Mridul. Who else? Diksha, Nidhi, Riddhi, Ria, Harshita. So you guys are raising your hand and telling me that I am good at innovation. I am good at problem solving, right? Now, guys, if you look at Apple, you guys, we love using Apple phones. We love using Apple. We'd love to flaunt our MacBook when we come to colleges. Why do you think Apple is Apple? Why is it so famous? It's because of its constant innovation. It's because of its constant, and it's not just innovation. It's about connecting with with the customers and figuring out what they want. And today, the topic that we are talking about when we're talking about design thinking. Now, not sure how many of us have heard of design thinking. Design thinking is a pretty much well-known terminology, and the history goes back to the 60s. A lot of thinkers, a lot of people have contributed since on this particular topic since 1960s. Now, this topic became really famous in 1987 when an author called Peter Rowie published a book on design thinking. Right now, while the definition is very clear, it's up on the board, board, old school. It's up on the screen for all of you guys. What really is design thinking, guys? Have you heard of this? Have you practiced this before?
Ma'am, it might be sorry, it might be out of the box thinking, like thinking in a broader perspective rather than thinking just with narrow narrow terms.
It is out of the box thinking. Yes, you're right, Diksha. Now, design thinking really is a philosophy and a set of tools to help us solve problems creatively, right? Now, why is this topic being chosen for, all you fantastic B school grads? Any idea? What kind of problems do you think you will face and why this topic for today? Make it relevant for you. Come on. What kind of problems will you be solving? The only way to communicate is to talk to me. I can't see any chats. Yeah, Rashi, go ahead.
Good morning, ma'am. So, when I think of my own field, I'm specializing in marketing. So, one major problem that most marketers have to solve, at least when you get to the brand management part of your job, then you have to look at product development. How do you make your product easier to use for someone, or just more aesthetic or something? So I think their design thinking would be very useful.
Very good, Rashi. Really appreciate your response. Now, she's hit the nail. You will use design thinking when you're creating products, right? But guys, come on. Design thinking is not concept that we will only use when we want to develop a product. You guys are B school grads. I'm very sure you're working so hard because you want to, in the next coming future, get into an organization, right? Or maybe start a business of your own or do become an entrepreneur. At every given point in time, guys, we will have a problem that will need to be resolved. Nobody is just going to hire us to, come join our organization and chill, right? So you might have varied problems like, I'm in marketing, get me a product that the customers will like. I'm in sales, increase the sales. I'm in training, design training modules that will help the employees at the end of the day. It could be very simply, I'm in HR, you need to reduce attrition. Or it could simply be you are in you're working in a department and cost is a major concern. You need to reduce cost. And I'm giving you just a few examples. I'm pretty sure that design thinking as a model can be applied to various fields, right? Now, you might be thinking that, all right, how is design thinking going to help me? So let's go ahead and understand what design thinking is and how is it going to help us, right? What we need to understand first is when we're talking about problem solving, there are many, very, very many processes that are used to solve problems. But design thinking specifically focuses on the human side. Human-centered approach is what we call, and it is also a method of creative problem solving. Now what happens, guys, is in a lot of organizations you join, you will say that, okay, we have this technology available, and hence let's make the most of it. Let's solve the problem using this technology, right? This is not the only way to solve your problem, right? There are other ways to solve problem, and that's what we are going to learn in our today's session, which is when we're talking about design thinking. Design thinking looks at all creative solving through the lens of a human eye, through the lens of it's a human-centered approach. So if I'll say that in a nutshell, it's a user-centered approach of solving problem, and the ingredients that we are going to use in this is it's a mindful process. This is a process where you don't tell, but you show. This is This is about radical collaboration. This is not about doing things on your own. This is not about solving problems on your own. It's about collaboration. It is also very, very important about a culture of creating prototypes. Right? So I quickly jump into design thinking and what are, some important steps that we have in design thinking. So I have on the screen for you guys 5 steps that we are going to talk about today. And this will pretty much make you understand what design thinking is all about. The first step is empathize. The second step is define. The third step is ideate. The fourth step is prototype. And the fifth step is test. So jumping into each of these and helping you uncover, helping you understand what these all mean. Right now, a quick question to all of us, guys. What does empathy mean to you? What is empathy? I'm pretty sure you must have used these terminologies in your education. So go ahead, tell me, what does empathy mean to you?
Putting yourself in others' shoes.
Thank you, Wasim. That is true. That's a definition of empathy. Yes. Putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Fine. What else? Yes, Arpana.
Ma'am, being able to feel what the other person is feeling and being able to relate when
Being
it
able
comes to
to
like
feel
emotions.
what the other person is feeling, being able to relate to it. Yes, Rashi.
Same as Aparna, you are able to understand how someone feels.
Okay. Yes. Good, Rashi. Thanks, Rashi. Arpana, thanks for talking to me, guys. Nidhi.
Ma'am, from my perspective, it's like being able to connect with the person and understanding their problem and resolving it like it's your own problem.
Fantastic. So a big round of applause to all these, the circle of people who are constantly talking to me. The others who are on mute, you must come out of your, uh, quiet zone and come and talk to me. It will be great to see you guys talk. But yes, having said that, coming back, exactly what empathy is. When we're talking about creating a solution, solving a problem, is extremely important to connect with your user. A lot of times, like Rashi was mentioning, brand mein hu, I have to increase sales. Boss ne bol diya, mujhe jo, okay, by the way, is Hindi okay as a mode of communication?
Yes, ma'am, we can go with both the ways.
Yeah, right. Good. Okay. So, boss has said, professor has said, somebody has to, this is the problem. What we land up doing, what we normally land up doing is we straight jump into problem solving. We straight jump into, okay, mujhe kya samajh mein aaya of this situation? Let me solve this according to my understanding. When we're talking about design thinking, guys, the first step we are talking about is empathize, connect with your user. Without this, we are solving problem the way I understand it. And this is exactly what happens when you go on the, when you are working in a corporate office, you work in, a nice B school pass out, you get a fancy job, and boss says increase sales, or we need to create a new product. और जब वो प्रोडक्ट हम मार्केट में ले आते हैं तो forget the user, the sales guy only say क्या बनाया है, इस क्या मतलब है, what is this for? So what not done in this situation is we have not connected with the user. So the first step out here, guys, is empathize. Understand the people you are trying to make the product, or you're trying to solve a problem. It and remember, we are not saying design thinking means you all become scientists and start making products, or start. It could be providing a simple solution. It could be, okay, you're creating a new process. You've joined the organization, you need to create some process. I think as soon as you join an organization, your first step, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, Diksha, you can correct me if I'm wrong. The first step you will do is you will go ahead, work on a project, understand the project, and at the end of the day, give some recommendations as to what you think can be improved. Correct? That's what we are all going to do at some point in time. Now, when you think and when you're making that recommendation, you can make 20,000 recommendation for all the organization cares. Your recommendations will be fruitful if you've connected with the user, and that is when it's going to add value. Right? It's not about what I feel, and hence, मुझे लगता है दुनिया बदल दो, मुझे लगता है organization बदल दो. Right? It's not about what mujhe lagta hai. It's really about what the user wants. Right? So here we go, guys. Here are some steps that I've mentioned. How? Okay, so then your question will be, how do I do it? How do I connect with my users? Right? And very simply, things like conducting interviews, going and meeting your end user. When you guys join an organization, as you move further in life, the first 1 month you must go on the on the field. You must get the pulse of what your employees are feeling, and you must get a pulse on what your users are feeling. You could do this for different methods, guys. Connecting with people, empathizing with people could be done via interviews, could be done with, via brainstorming sessions, group discussions. It could be done by just simply shadowing somebody. What you're doing is you're simply trying to seek an understanding around what the user is going through. How will you do it? You will see the situation not from your lens. You will see the situation from the lens of the user. You're going to make a new Excel sheet because you think this is not a very good process. You join an organization. वो eventually Excel sheet तुम्हारे अलावा और कौन use करने वाला है? You must meet the user. पता पड़ा तुम लोगों ने fancy कुछ Excel sheet बनाया, or your folks in the field don't have access to computer, they can't access this at all. When you're talking to your users, steer through open-ended questions. I'm pretty sure we all understand, what are open-ended questions. How do you make people talk, right? You need to understand, what their problem really is. If there are situations where you can take photographs, collect artifacts from people, write down your impressions, make your notes, really, what do these people do? Understand what do these people want. And guys, this you need to do in a very non-judgmental way. Don't look at the world through your lens. Most of us are biased. And we do get biased. It's extremely natural. But we'll have to consciously tell ourselves not to wear the lens, not to have bias against anything. Right? First step in design thinking. What we're doing is we're trying to discover the emotions of people, and emotions tell us, why they're behaving the way they're behaving. I move on very, very quickly, guys, to the next step of design thinking, which is define. Now in this step, we take everything that we've got from the step 1, all our observations, everything that we've got from step 1, and move to defining the scope. Move to, okay, now I've understood this, what is the pain point of this of the user. I've understood their situation. Now this time we are now going to go back to our drawing board, go back to your pen and paper and define the issue, breaking what you've learned from step 1, breaking it down and coming to conclusion as to what the user needs, what are their problems, what are their challenges, what are the insights we can take from empathizing with our customers. So this is the session, this is the time where you're going to do this, right? Now, I'm going back to, some questions, a few minutes back when I asked you, with a raise of your hand, guys, how many of you are good with problem solving? Some of you raised your hands, right? This also goes out to, want to tell you that creative problem solving, creativity, nobody is born with being creative. ऐसा नहीं है कि अच्छा ये बंदा या ये बंदी है, this person is inborn talent है. I'm very sure there must be some people like that. So uska matlab kya? Do you think that besides the other people who have not raised their hands, we will be, sitting in our chairs, अरे हमारे में तो ये skill है ही नहीं. I can't join an organization, I'll never be able to create anything new. Right? Design thinking, guys, is a tool. If you follow it step by step, you will come to creative conclusions, creative solutions, right? And guys, we all understand that in today's world, being so competitive, if we have to stand out, we will have to show that creative side. We will have to show the innovative side of us. And this is where, when we're defining the problem, guys, this is the time when we discuss that these are the common challenges of the people. This is when we make a scope document. Now this step is critical to design thinking because it explicitly expresses the problem you're trying to address through your efforts. So this time you're now going to say, अच्छा, पहले बोलते थे कि sales बढ़ाना है, the product is not good. As we go ahead, sales नहीं हो रहे because the product is not very good. But through your empathizing effort, you will probably figure out that, hey, the product is good. Maybe the way it is sold is not good. Maybe it's not advertised properly. There could be very many other reasons. Now that you figured out what these reasons are, you're in defined step, you're going to write your scope as to what you're trying to improve. We move to the third step, guys. The most exciting part of design thinking, which is ideate. Now, what does ideate mean? You can see on the screen, what are these guys doing, guys?
I'm planning.
Planning, okay. Someone else was also saying something?
Ma'am, they are analyzing whatever scope data they get from the
Okay.
empathy side, and according to that, they will make judgments and decisions.
Okay, Harshit. What about the others?
I'm thinking something creative on that idea or plan which they are planning to do.
Right, Poshita. Uh, in this stage, जो भी analyze करना था, इसका क्या solution, ये problem है, all that is in the defined stage. Ideation really means brainstorming. If you look at these people, they're all trying to come together. They're trying to look at this problem, and they're coming up with ideas, coming up with potential match for your solution, with the insight that they have figured out. Right now, this is what we call brainstorming. Not sure if you guys have been a part of any brainstorming workshops. Yes, no?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No? All right.
No,
Now,
ma'am.
great. Okay, fine. So let me spend a couple of minutes around what is brainstorming workshop. Right now, when we talk about brainstorming, and typically this happens, we also call, in corporate terminologies, we call them think tank sessions, where we block people's time, for 5 hours, and we say, okay, we are all going to come to a room. This could be a boardroom, it could be near a swimming pool, it could be in a smokeout area, it could be somewhere, right, where all the people are together, and they put the problem up on the board, and they start with brain, and they start ideating. Now, what brainstorming works typically, guys, जब भी हम group में आके सोचते हैं, so what are the normal behaviors? There will be suggestions thrown, and then there will be this one or two people who will be the moderator, who will think I'm very macho, I'm very cool, so we'll say, hey, kya kuch bhi faltu idea, are what is this, this is an impractical idea. And then all the ideas that are coming out, most of them will be shot down, saying, no, this is not happening, are ye it just seems very childish, or this seems like ye karne, by the time we finish it will be 5 years, it doesn't make sense. Now, when we're talking about brainstorming sessions, none of this happen, and you're not supposed to do any of this, right? Brainstorming is only around coming up with ideas, right? In this stage, guys, you're uh, going wide. You're diverging. In this stage, when you're ideating, one problem, and the expectation will be that by the end of 5 hours we are going to come up with 100 solutions for this, and a random number is given, 100. Okay, now just to reach that 100 number, now you can imagine people will come up with absolutely bizarre ideas, right? That is exactly what we want to do in brainstorming. Come up with, go weird. The whole idea is go weird, go out of the box. And at this stage, we are not to think चलेगा नहीं चलेगा, प्रैक्टिकल है नहीं है, feasible है नहीं है, कॉस्ट ज्यादा है कॉस्ट कम है. This is not the discussion we have. This only around coming up with as many ideas as possible. Now, some suggestions that we have is be visual, differ from judgments. Don't go ahead and say, this will not work for many people. Do not do that. Right now, it's just about coming up with very, very, very many ideas, right? Encourage wild ideas is what I say on the board for you guys, right? Now, extremely important that we build on ideas of other people. If somebody has said this, you go ahead and build on that. Normally, हम लोग बोलते कि अरे उसने ये idea बोल दिया, so no, I shouldn't go around. I can't steal that idea, right? No, out here, we want people to build on people's idea. Remember, I told you that this is a lot about collaboration. Yes, go for quantity. Normally, when we say brainstorming karna hai, come with ideas, quality, we want good suggestions. Now, I've heard people say this is not a good suggestion. Right? Not something that we are supposed to do. However, we must also stay focused on the topic. A lot of times from coming to different solutions, people say, "अरे हम गोवा में होते तो और beer पी रहे होते तो कितना अच्छा होगा." So do not get deviated. This is the time when you ideate, right? Right after this step is over, when you've completed ideating, once you think you've reached 45 solutions to this particular problem. And please don't, in this stage, this is not the stage when you say, I'm coming up with 5 solutions. Okay, you need to give yourself a target of 50 solutions. Okay, and go ahead, just say 75. I will come out with 75 solutions to improve sales. उसको पहले ideas तो निकालो. That is how we are going to do creative thinking. Once we brought these 50 ideas on the table, you will see yes, out of 50 ideas, maybe a few of them are not so relevant. Few of them will be extremely hilarious. You might spend 15 minutes laughing around it, and it is okay. Right? After you have done ideating is when you will now come up with what are in this situation. These are all ideas that are done and dusted with. Now, guys, remember one thing, when you are brainstorming, the reason I said you need to give yourself an aspirational number, give yourself 50 solutions or 75 solutions. Why? What happens? Why do I say don't take the first 5 and say 50? Why? Why? What happens when we are ideating? And in the first 10-15 minutes, what happens? The first, yes, Rashi, go ahead.
So, ma'am, I'm not sure, but from what I've noticed, people seem to be attached to the first few ideas a lot, even though they are not the most
Okay.
they're not the most suitable.
Rightly said, Rashi. Rightly said. Yes, Nidhi, you want to say something to me?
Yes, ma'am. While doing something new, when we are doing for the first 5, it might be incorrect. But after those 10-15 times, it will be appropriate. And if we move up till 50, it can come to a perfect landing of whatever we are doing.
Good thinking, Nidhi. Guys, be honest to yourself, right?
Ma'am,
When somebody, yes, Diksha.
ma'am, it might be like in the starting of your thoughts, the ideas are more creative, and in the beginning you create with new thoughts and new ideas, and later on you start repeating and start doing innovation in the same idea.
Okay, thank you, Diksha. And I'm very glad you said this. And guys, this is exactly opposite of what Diksha said. When somebody tells you that, come up with ideas, we are human beings. हम naturally क्या करेंगे? We will immediately reflect in our past, or the first few ideas will be last time हमने कैसे solve किया था, या मैंने सुना था. So these are all repeated ideas that are coming. These are, natural. It's extremely natural that the moment I say, okay, आज दूध वाला नहीं आया है, ये problem है, solve करना है, your next thing will be, अच्छा ठीक है, call कर लेता हूँ. These are repeated behaviors that you have done in the past. So your first few solutions that people will give, what they will do is very conveniently, we will go in our mind, we will go in our memory space, we will say, अच्छा last time हमने ये problem कैसे solve किया था? and then we will come up with some solutions. Now remember, the first 5, 10 are all repeated solutions that you are coming up to the problem. And this repetition is from our past experiences. Repetition is from observing what the other person has done. It's something that you heard, something you've read from your book somewhere. So the first few solutions are really the repetition. And when I said give yourself an aspirational figure, जो फर्स्ट 10, 15, 20 उसके बाद जो भी आएगा, now these are genuinely the creative solutions that we are looking at. Now your job after you've come back to all these creative thoughts is how you will join the dots together. Guys, are you with me? If you're with me, show me a raise of hand. Tell me you're still here with me and not holidaying somewhere in Goa. Harshit is with me.
You. And we are actually very enjoying your session.
That's great. That's great. As long as you're with me, not somewhere in the Bahamas, Maldives, Goa, huh? Or maybe having chai somewhere in the morning, poha. Right. Great, great, great. Fantastic. I think everybody is with me right here. Okay, great. So now moving on, we have 2 more steps for understanding what design thinking is all about. Just keeping a track of time. Yeah, I'm on time. All right. So the next part, guys, in design thinking is creating a prototype. What image do you see out here, guys? I've put an image on purpose. What is the image? What's going on? है आप लोगों को? What is that image?
Lego blocks.
Yes, Lego blocks, exactly. So when we are talking about problem solving, do not go ahead with the final model and go ahead and present to your stakeholder saying, here is what I have presented. In design thinking, we recommend that you create prototypes. Do we all understand what we do when we're playing with Legos?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We first made them, and if it is not up to the mark, we just destroy it again and make it.
Fantastic, exactly. And that is exactly what we recommend that you do in design thinking. Take all the ideas you want to develop, breaking these ideas into a select few that you think might be worthy of making something realistic, right? And now you're turning these ideas into simple, testable prototypes. They are not fully designed, mind you. They're not, if it's a product, if it's an app you're making, it's not fully coded, it's not fully made into a real thing. It is just a prototype so that you can move to the next step, which is testing with the user. Now how do you do this? Mock-ups, storyboard. In this situation, in this step, you need to keep it extremely simple. You must solve any disagreements within your group that you have. This is a time where you fail quickly and you fail cheaply, right? We all know, how many efforts does Thomas Edison make before he could make one light bulb?
1,000.
Exactly, 1,000. And design thinking, and I've written up the word on the board: fail quickly and cheaply. ऐसा नहीं है कि भैया एक solution दिया है मैंने, it will work wonders, right? Please fail, learn from your failures. Yes, Mridula, you want to say something? Mridul? No? Oh, okay, all right. So In this in this stage, if you failed, you need to integrate quickly. Manage the solution building process, guys. It's essential in this stage of prototyping that you create something, you think something is wrong, you remake it, right? In most situation, we feel कि मैंने ये solution दे दिया है, अगर ये solution नहीं काम किया है, too bad. How do we know whether the solution is working or it's not working? Is simply by testing. In this stage, we're taking the prototype that you've created, that and the prototype is not created randomly. It's based on step 3 and step 4. Testing with real people, testing with the people whom you had connected in stage 1. Remember? I said empathize, connect with your people, go back to the same people with your prototype. Will this work? Is this what you want? Most of the times when we are talking about creative problem solving, कुछ भी problem है. अगर वो problem को अगर solve करने के लिए आपने 2 हफ्ते लगाए हैं, वो 2 हफ्ते में situation has changed and COVID has told us very well, showed us very well how things change. तो अगर हम 2 हफ्ते के बाद, 2 हफ्ते is the quickest. I think we normally go after a 1 month of PPT making, सब कुछ fancy बना के, और जब हम eventually user के पास लेके जाते, the user says, yeah, I mean, you've made this well, that's great, but you know, we were looking at something more. So this is the time where you redefine your prototypes. This is the time you go back to the solution, understand what were the impediments, what works, learn this from your user, not because you feel this will work, right? And extremely important, integrate quickly. We all know this figure on the screen, do we?
Yes, ma'am. Steve Jobs.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead and read what's on your screen. Read what Steve Jobs has to say. Design is a funny word. Some people think design means how it looks. बहुत बढ़िया डिजाइन बनाया है, बहुत बढ़िया solution है. But of course, if you dig deeper, it's really about how it works. Nobody wants to see fancy models. Nobody wants to see fancy PPTs. Nobody wants to see all these things if your solution is not going to work. So in a nutshell, design thinking is like an infinite loop. Just because हम लोगों ने step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 कर लिया है, doesn't mean this is the end of the story. The solution is right there. सब कुछ हो गया है. Right? From step 1, you know, we move to step 2. Once we have created the prototype, you test. If you realize that something is not correct, something is not working in the test phase, you go back and what I technically, when you're testing with the user, you are in a way empathizing. So you go back to step 2. You redefine the solution. You redefine the problem. Once you've redefined the problem, go back to your drawing board. Go back to see out of all the solutions that you made, you gave some 50 creative solutions. Do any of them still work? Do we need to still brainstorm? Once you finish that, go back and remake the prototype. Once you've remade the prototype, go back and check, test with the user. Is this what the person wanted? Right? Please remember, guys, this is not just about creating a product. This is not about making a rocket. We must use design thinking for the smallest problem that we have. If you're looking at a creative solution, design thinking is the way to go. Right? Now I have an important question, guys. We've spent close to 45 minutes, oddly 50 minutes spending this time together, understanding the design thinking model. Right? What is it for you guys? What are you taking back? अभी तो आपको time है ना? Joining a new organization, doing something on your own, there is still time for you to pass out. So what, in the next 3, 4, 5 months, I'm pretty sure design thinking will just be a concept that you've written in your notebook somewhere, or a topic sitting in your email.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Arshit Mishra. So, as we all know, problems in our life, there are in every field there's a problem in our lives. Like if we are even selecting our clothes, there's a problem. If we are selecting our specialization, there's a problem. If we are thinking of what simple other courses we need to do other than PGDM, then there's a problem. So problem is everywhere, and this will help us to solve these problems in a better way, and to get the better results at last.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Harshit. Anybody else? I'm going to take one more response.
Ma'am, can I go ahead with the answer?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, apart from logical reasoning and creative thinking of our lives, like we are at the initial level of where we are learning everything. So one of the important things that we can learn now is empathizing and sympathizing with people, so that once we are in the organization, we can get accustomed to all the work we are doing. But this empathy thing will dwell in us from now onwards. So this is the thing that we can take from here today to be a better
Lovely.
person in the corporate.
Lovely. Thank you, Wasim. Now, guys, I just want to make you guys think. हम complex problem solve की बात कर रहे हैं. We're talking about solving complex problem. My suggestion, my humble request to you guys will be, why don't you use design thinking as a model on yourself? It is, I have heard so many people saying, this is how I am. मैं तो ऐसा ही हूँ. I can't change. Have you heard? Have you used this statement somewhere? This is how I am. I can't change.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, exactly. Have you heard, guys? Darwin's theory. Have you heard of Darwin sometime in your life, in your school?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Darwin's theory is the survival of the fittest. And in today's world, guys, we are not saying survival means being a macho man. I'm strong. We are not saying survival in that sense. A fittest is not the most able. The fittest is the one who is the most adaptable. We will need to adapt. Design thinking is about creatively, innovatively thinking, adapting yourself to the current situation. Use design thinking, guys, use it on your personal self. Empathize. Look at your, if that, and that's how you're going to become a better person. When I say empathize, go ahead, connect with people around, connect with what they feel. Tomorrow you're going to join an organization, you can't say this is how I am, take me. If you want, this is my resume, hire me, this is how I am, otherwise too bad. We will need to adapt ourselves to the organization. We will need to define, Achha, this is the I'm going to work for Google. It's a, it's an organization that requires me to, be in the market. It requires me to have fresher ideas. And on the other hand, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to work in Ultratech. It's a manufacturing system, old school. Go back, define that this is what I need to be. Come up with solution. How are you really going to be able to do this? Test. Is this working? Is this the right way? So you start using design thinking on yourself, on existing problems you have, and I'm very sure things will work for you. And you guys are bright students communicating with me. I'll end my conversation today by saying, dream bigger dreams. They have a funny way of coming true. So on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new today. I am on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me. I'd love to keep in touch with you and see really if design thinking has worked. Thank you guys and all the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Rashi, Mridul. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello,
Thank you,
everyone.
ma'am.
And now, ma'am, if we are open for a few questions. Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, are we open for a few questions?
Yes, of course. Yes, Diksha, go ahead.
Ma'am, uh, as you've mentioned about design thinking, um, so there are many times in the organization there are different people who have different thought set of mind of means they used to think differently. They have different set of mind. So how to adopt their new ideas and new design thinking in a one go? Like it's a teamwork. Together we
Yeah.
have to work in a team, and every people think on their own process. So how to make them work if I am working as a manager and I am having a team of 8 to 9 people? So how to take their design in such a way that everyone's design should be collaborated and give it in a good process?
Yeah, that's a good question, Diksha. In a corporate world, we will always be working in a team, and many people think different. We all have different thought processes, right? Design thinking is talking about a collaborative approach. Now, guys, I'll tell you what is the difference between thinking on your own. If you think on your own and say this is the solution, there are very, very high chances, like Diksha mentioned, there are different people, they all think differently. And very high chances that they will not accept your solution because their mental frame is very different from what you have thought. When you collaborate, when you come together, brainstorm, what you have in a way done, right? I've studied psychology. If you guys are interested, look at it from a psychological perspective, guys. What you have in a way done is you have in a way bought in everybody's trust. You've bought in everybody's go ahead. Everybody has come together, given their thoughts. You've taken some time out and said, Acha, this is not going to work, this is not. And then eventually, it is not about I gave the option, it's eventually about what the group has decided. and you've got a buy-in from the group in this way. So there are extremely high chances of this solution working because it's a group effort. So Diksha, does that answer?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yep.
Uh, Hello, ma'am. Harshit Mishra this side. Ma'am, I
Yes,
also
Harsh.
have, as we all know, there are times when we don't know what people really want. So, how we can empathize with them, how we can know what they really want.
Very good question, Harshit. When I talked about step 1, which is empathize, right? The user को solution क्या है genuinely नहीं पता होगा, right? What you are doing in step 1 is I'm interviewing you, I'm shadowing you. We all understand what a shadowing mean? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes. Shadowing is being a fly on the wall and uh, going through your day and not say, I'm just observing you, right? प्रॉब्लम का सॉल्यूशन लाना तो आपका काम है. आपको क्या करना है इन डिजाइन थिंकिंग? यू आर रियली जस्ट फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आप ऑब्जर्व क्या कर रहे हो? यू आर ऑब्जर्विंग the person's day, you're observing what the person is doing, you're observing how he is doing, you're observing what are the person's pain points, you're observing what are the person's challenges. अब ये सारा जो इंफॉर्मेशन आपको मिला है, you will come back, you will say these are the pain points, this is what, these are the challenges they are facing. Now you're going to, in the second stage, define that these are the pain points I'm going to address, or these are the challenges I'm going to look after. बंदा अगर सेल कम हो रही है, सेल मार्केट में जा ही नहीं रहा है, कोविड के टाइम में मार्केट में कहाँ जा रहा है? And that's how eventually we all got hung on to teams. Now the next problem that people face is on teams, you know, the whole question about building trust, right? If you look at yourself, when I started the conversation at 10:45, I had to stop and say, okay, and consciously decide I will not go ahead till the time you don't give me responses, because we are all, still in our shell. And now when I ask you questions, you see how promptly you're opening up. It's really about building trust, right? So the user will anyway not know what is the solution to the problem. The user will know the problem, or he might not even know the problem. He might be just be going through some pain. Now it's our job to identify what are these pain points, our job to identify what are these challenges, define that the folks on the floor are going through these challenges, and then come up with creative ways to deal with the solution, to deal with the problem. उसको
Okay.
solution पता तो problem ही नहीं होता ना यार, right? So that's the way to go about, Harshit. I hope that answers.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rashi, you can go ahead with the question.
Oh, Rashi has raised her hand. Yes, Rashi.
Okay, ma'am. So my question is that, like, from what I've understood about design thinking, is that one has to be constantly observant and vigilant. But the downside to that is that it causes burnout as well, because you're constantly focused on work. So what would be the solution to that?
Um, Thank you for that question, Rashi. Um, See, I've always believed, Rashi, that uh, in your job, if you are, if you are in a very comfortable position, ये इस हम बैठे हैं, एसी चल रहा है, सब कुछ सही है लाइफ में, है ना? This is exactly the time that we need to start worrying. This is exactly the time when, and at this stage, the stage that we are in, we are bright students. This is exactly the time when you are, in the in from a biological perspective, you're in a frame to go ahead, you know extend yourself, stretch yourself, है ना? नाम तो कमाना है ना थोड़ा बहुत अपने लिए, right? So burnout होगा, definitely होगा, मगर this whole engagement with the user is going to ensure that the solution we are providing, and solution could be anything, right? It definitely is creating a product. It could be about कोई process improve करना है, किसी को retention improve करना है, किसी को जो भी करना है, sales improve करना है, right? Whatever the problem is, the end goal is to make sure that the solution is workable and the solution is useful. So yes, there will be burnout, but at the benefit that we are getting from this burnout is the workable solution that we are giving to our stakeholders. And I think your B school is preparing you very well on this.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Any more question, guys? If anything you're required to ask, feel free to ask to ma'am.
Anybody?
Ma'am, I think my batchmates have understood the session so nicely and enjoyed the session. So, ma'am, on this note, thank you so
On
much, ma'am.
thank you guys. You guys have been wonderful, and ensure that you do well. On that note, thank you guys. See you sometime soon.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful and insightful session. It was full
Thank
of
you.
knowledge and liveliness.
Thank
I'm
you. Thank
sure
you.
students would have learned a lot and from your shared experience and would have enjoyed the session from the core. Best wishes for your venture, ma'am, with the hope to see you again. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. All the best, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Take care.
Bye bye, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
ma'am.